When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Good evening and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5, tracking a soggy day across North Mississippi. Welcome into the show. I'm meteorologist Gabe. We'll track those showers coming up here in a minute. But first, let's get into those headlines that we'll be looking at here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Rain chances continue. Point blank simple. Yeah, that's really the forecast heading into our evening plans. But those rain chances do taper off heading into our Friday. We'll have updates on that timing coming up in just a moment. But I know the golden question, Gabe, it's cold, it's raining. Where's the snow? Well, the snow is actually up north to our neighbors in Tennessee, and a few sleet pellets, yes, they have been possible, but not exactly developing into anything. We don't expect any impacts here in North Mississippi from that winter precip as we stay with that cold rainfall, unfortunately. Of course, we do have those state championships starting now. Looking at Calhoun City and Simmons behind the scenes, the 1A state championship has kicked off. We'll have updates on those scores coming up here in just a moment. So sports, weather, we have it all here in Mississippi Live Weather. The first 12, soggy forecast continues. 6 o'clock, 50% chance, 9, 30%. And those 30% do linger into those early AM hours before clearing out into what should be a mostly dry Friday. Temperature-wise, though, even with the moisture, going to be a cold forecast. Maybe not at freezing for some, depending on where those showers are positioned. But for those that are drying off a little bit earlier this evening, then the cold weather really starts to build in as those dry conditions push in place. So we'll look at those temperatures here in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get a look around the area. Seeing a whole bunch of cloud cover, seeing a whole bunch of rainfall across North Mississippi. 41 degrees right now, dew point still at 39 degrees, and a little bit of a breeze coming out of the northeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour there in Winona, Montgomery County. Highly saturated environment, but that's as those showers work their way on through. And move a little bit east, 8 to 10, 43 degrees. Dew point actually showcasing, that's a little bit off right there. Should be a little bit lower there, around 43. But you can see the soggy conditions that are in place. Just a, not a picturesque environment. So a lot of folks that are looking to head out this evening, not going to get that beautiful sunset. It's just going to be a soggy and, dare I say, miserable evening. That's why a lot of the parades have been rescheduled as well. If you're planning on going to any in the next hour or so, they're not happening. And again, we'll have updates on when those parades have been moved to in just a moment. But you can see roadways slick, cars driving by, and you're getting some of that moisture on the back end of those cars as they drive over those bridges. Again, not expecting anything freezing because it is still 37 degrees. And 37 degrees, it's cold, but it's not cold enough. And that's the thing with our forecast, is we're not ever getting to that enough side of the forecast. We're going to be cold, but just not exactly the freezing threshold. Temperatures across the region, 40 in Bruce, 46 in Columbus, 43 Kosciuszko, and out west we're seeing 35 Senatobia, 34 Tunica, 34 around South Haven. Now this is the area where I wouldn't be surprised to see, or at least hear, should I say, a few sleet pellets, but not accruing to anything. It's going to continue to be that cold rain and cold, wet, damp forecast as we get into our Thursday night. 36 degrees in Corinth, 39 Iuka, and 38 in Boonville. So cold all across North Mississippi, and those showers continue to work their way out of North Mississippi. You can see how they've been filtering in all day long. If we put this on a 6-hour loop, we had those showers start to build on the leading edge of the day, really build into those lunch hours. And here's where we've sat all afternoon. Some brief, heavy portions are possible, especially down around Macon. You can see some of those yellows popping up. That's indicative of a little bit of higher rain rate, but really just going to be that light to moderate rainfall. Nothing too significant, and again, nothing winter precip about this forecast whatsoever. As we jump up there towards Memphis, we are getting some of those pinks and blues returning there in Paris, Texas. Golly, well, that was a throwback. My parents actually lived in Paris, Tennessee, should I say. And even there, not getting anything that's amounting to significant travel impacts. Looking at the National Weather Service chat, they're not seeing anything of note so far. There is that special weather statement, but not expecting it to be too much of anything. I do want to note that it wasn't an impossibility to get a few of those pinks that were moving into DeSoto and Tunica County. But even then, a lot of it, once it reached the surface, because it was so warm, not exactly making any impacts. It's still just those slick roadways. Let's keep that forecast going, and we're going to talk about those rainfall totals. As you can see, not exactly anything too significant. I told you yesterday it was going to be a rainy evening for sure, but that rain not ever heavy, and that's why those amounts aren't very high. So don't be fooled by how much those rain chances have been in the forecast, because that rainfall has not been that significant. We're seeing a couple tenths of an inch here and there up around Jackson, Tennessee, about a half of an inch. But down south continues to be the big story. If we work this down a little bit, you can see a lot more greens, a lot more yellows, and on that legend up top right there, yellows, it's around 2 inches. So down in Macomb, Mississippi, Brookhaven, Mississippi, yeah, it's a pretty soggy forecast. And I know folks over there in Davis-Wade looking at what they're dealing with, about 14 hundredths of an inch. So again, not anything overly high, but if you've been keeping up with this ball game, the rain is a big factor. And again, we'll get into that whenever we talk the latest on our state championship matchups. But looking at the drought monitor, latest one being issued today, not much changing except for that level 1 drought being taken away from parts of Prentiss, Alcorn, Tishomingo, and Itawamba County. So that's a positive sign. Hopefully that does continue, but that level 3 drought still in the heart of I-55 from Grenada towards Yalobusha County. Panola County, my apologies right there. That is where we continue to sit. So Batesville, Oxford, Grenada, yeah, unfortunately level 3 drought still in place. So all this rainfall, very needed, but it's not exactly happening at a good time, and that's the unfortunate part about it. As we keep this forecast going, we'll expand this out and look at the surface analysis, because this large batch of moisture continues to cycle east out of our area and making impacts in Birmingham, Huntsville, Nashville, Knoxville. Yeah, that's going to be their story moving forward, not exactly ours anymore. You can see west of 55 already trending a little bit better with those drier conditions, and that'll continue to get better and better as those work its way on through. It does have a redevelopment of some moisture happening by 10 p.m. That's why we're keeping those rain chances around. Not entirely sold on this coverage, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had a few sprinkles here and there as the last of that moisture clears on out. By 3 a.m., a pretty dry forecast, but really drying up towards that 6 and 7 o'clock hour, heading out the door for our Friday morning. End of the work week, finishing it out strong and finishing it out with dry conditions. Starting off with those gloomy skies though, but don't be worried, no rainfall is going to be happening from that. If you look at the next 24, we're dry all day long, but that doom and gloom in the sky will definitely reign supreme with mostly cloudy, if not just fully cloudy conditions all throughout the day. Temperature-wise, 36 heading out the door. It's honestly on the higher side of things. Some areas will be actually below freezing, so we'll look at that full breakdown coming up in just a moment. But by the afternoon, climbing to around 47 degrees. Still not a warm forecast, so if you're heading off to any parades tomorrow evening, if you're heading off to maybe see the Whippets bring home that 4A state championship, we'll have a full breakdown of that forecast happening for your Friday, and continue to break down those rain chances this evening coming up on Mississippi Live Weather here in the next 60.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
The gloomy late fall evening that we know and love continues to remain in place for our Thursday evening plans. Amory, 43 degrees right now, and you can see those stratus clouds blanketing the sky and bringing with it a few raindrops as well, falling there on the lens of the camera. Big shout out to the North Mississippi Storm Chasers for providing these cameras and giving us a look in those skies and letting us feel that forecast and do so in a dry way. Yeah, we can still feel that rainfall. We know what it is like, but we don't exactly have to get wet in the process. We mentioned Panola County still under that level 3 drought, so all of this rainfall definitely worthwhile. Soggy conditions still in place on the ground. A gloomy sky up top. 37 degrees right now, so not expecting any winter precip there either. We did hear of a few, I almost said hailstones, a few sleet pellets over there in Pontotoc County, but that did not last long and transitioned right back into a cold rainfall. So again, no travel impacts going to be expected. You might see a rogue flake here and there or a rogue sleet pellet, but again, no impacts. And I want to emphasize that over and over again because you may see on the socials that some folks say, oh my word, winter wonderland. No, not the case here in North Mississippi. 44 degrees in Macon, and if you're wondering how soggy of a forecast it is, well, down south, they're actually getting some puddling there in those fields on the side of the roadways, and you can definitely see how saturated that forecast is with that refraction of light with those water droplets there with the interacting with those headlights. Yeah, a little cool sight down there, but Noxubee County definitely getting the heaviest portions of our rainfall, and that continues to happen overnight as well as the remnants of that moisture moves on in. So right now, I mean, perfect line right there, I-55 and east. That's where those rain chances currently sit and will continue to remain in that area, working its way east into Hamilton, Russellville, and Florence, and then, of course, Aliceville and Gordo for our folks down there in northwest Alabama. As we expand this out, you can see that that moisture is continuing to build up there towards the north, towards Jackson, Tennessee. Not seeing much development there on the backside. Yes, a few sprinkles possible. That's why I'm not overly sold on those rain chances tonight, at least not in the coverage of it, but a few sprinkles possible, yes, and that'll just add to some of those rain totals. You are getting a little bit of that winter precip return towards Clarksville, Tennessee, but we're ways away from that. Not going to be getting that here in North Mississippi. It's going to again be that cold, rainy forecast. Once again, that stratiform precip that continues to move across the area will continue to build in northwest Alabama, around Huntsville to Jasper, even folks in Birmingham getting a few drops of that as well. Road conditions, whenever we factor that in, just furthering our point of it's just going to be a slick forecast. Wet roadways all across North Mississippi, where you're seeing some of those snowy road conditions. That's going to be up around Clarksville, working its way into Nashville, but even Nashville, just primarily slick conditions. Those temperatures need to drop before any winter precip starts to make those impacts felt. So as we take a look at road conditions here in North Mississippi, again, we're just getting that cold rainfall. That's going to make those roadways slick, as you saw there in Noxubee County, but don't be changing plans around or not wanting to get on the roadways because of that weather that's happening, of all that rainfall. No, we're still going to be good to go. So keep those plans in place. It's going to be a good one for sure if we can stay dry. Okay, high school games of the week. Yes, I said games. There's 6 of them this week for our North Mississippi teams. Calhoun City playing right now, 43 degrees around kickoff for them. 80% chance of rainfall though, and if you ask any of our Wildcat fans, they will let you know that rain is being a booger right now because I believe, and I'm trying to look at stats behind the scenes, the Calhoun City quarterback has already thrown 3 interceptions in the first half. And you might think, well, then Calhoun City's out of the count. No, they're still competing 8-8 from what I saw with about a minute and a half left in that first half, the end of the second quarter. So they're still in this and they're still fighting. And that Simmons offense, not producing much of anything. The only point Simmons has scored is off of one of those interceptions, bringing it back for a pick 6. So a heated battle in these cold, rainy conditions. And it's tough to keep the ball in hand. It's tough to do anything with how rainy that forecast is. So West Point, go ahead and know what you're signing up for. The Green Wave taking over at 7:30. It's going to be a good battle for that 5A state title, hoping to bring number 14 home. 39 degrees though, so temperatures even colder, but those rainy conditions remain in place down there in Davis Wade. So have that rain gear ready. Our Green Wave fans, you're probably heading out the door here in the next hour or so. It's going to be a good one. And if anyone is going and wants to send back some of that celebration video, should be I'm fingers crossed for 14. I feel good about that one. So I want to see some celebration down there for the Green Wave. But excited about that. Excited that we have 2 representatives here in North Mississippi and should be a great forecast. Just a rainy one at the end of the day. But we can all get through a little bit of this rain, especially when there's no thunderstorms attached to it. As you see on Futurecast, going to get some of that moderate rainfall further towards our south, but across the area, it's just still going to be those light to moderate showers. Those working its way through the region. I will say a little bit overdone on our Futurecast model right here, dialing that back just a bit. Still going to be in the region, but I would say impactful rainfall going to be primarily out there towards the east and really towards our south. By 9 o'clock and even towards that 10 o'clock hour, you can see how those showers work their way east. And being that we've already overdone things, it's no surprise that we're trying to overdo it once again in West Helena, Stuttgart, and Forest City, Arkansas. So all of this moisture that's redeveloping, yes, we could have a few sprinkles, but I'm not really forecasting too much impactful rainfall being added to what we've already seen here in North Mississippi. So that's 10 o'clock on our Thursday evening. So for folks down in Starkville wanting to get a celebration in, it looks like you guys might luck out as that game number 2 with West Point finishes up around that 10 o'clock hour. By midnight, still with those mostly dry conditions for the Golden Triangle area, that best chance of rainfall is still going to be up there in northwest Mississippi as that remnant moisture moves its way on through. 2 a.m., those showers do work its way back in. So I said mostly dry. That was really for just a brief moment because those showers will continue to work its way east. 2 a.m., isolated chances continue by that 3 and 4 o'clock hour before leaving us with dry conditions heading out the door for the start of our Friday. Ending it with a Friday should be a good one with those dry conditions. But low temperatures depends on where you're at. And the big thing that's going to define that is the moisture. As you saw, those rain chances working its way east. So for folks out on the east side of our viewing area, going to be in the mid to upper 30s with 38 in Columbus, 34 Hamilton, and 34 in Tupelo. As we continue to work our way back there towards the west where it dries up a little bit quicker, 31 Water Valley, same thing in Oxford, 29 Tunica, 29 Senatobia, and same thing in South Haven. So that's really the cost, the cause and effect. There we go. Cause and effect of this forecast. Whenever you have that moisture in the forecast, it keeps temperatures a little bit warmer. When the moisture moves out, the temperatures are finally cold enough. If it were to have any rainfall, that winter precip would happen. But the unfortunate part, 29 degrees is going to be happening when it is a very dry forecast. 35 degrees going to be happening when it's a rainy forecast. So yes, that's why we're getting that cold rainfall. That's why we expect it to continue to remain in place. Luckily, wind chill not going to be much of a factor as those calm winds continue to remain in place. All right, school bus forecast, final day of the week, going to be a great one for those students, especially because it's dry conditions. Pick up 35 degrees with mostly cloudy conditions, and those clouds do linger by the afternoon, but no rainfall attached with it. 47 degrees towards that drop-off time frame. Let's keep Futurecast going, and as you can see right here, mostly cloudy skies, so that doom and gloom continues to remain in place. But there's no doom with this gloom because it's just going to be a dry pattern. Clouds limiting how much we warm up, though, blocking that sunshine from getting into the area. Might see a peak of sunshine here and there, but it's going to be those clouds that dominate the forecast once again, even towards those lunchtime hours. So lunch plans can be taken outside. I know it does try to move in a few of these pop-up showers, but those best chances still remain down there towards our south. If you're expecting some showers, it would be primarily along Kosciuszko, Louisville, Macon, and Aliceville, Alabama. All right, into the afternoon, you can see where those showers continue to develop, still in those same general area. So by 1:30, the rest of us staying dry. South of 82, really that best chance for a few pop-up showers. Again, our HRRR model, a little bit over-aggressive, moving some of these rain chances that far north. I think we do stay south of 82 for this threat. Even into those Friday evening hours. Lots of parades happening on our Friday evening. I would say those are still good to go. Unless you are south of 82, then I would definitely be monitoring that radar for the potential of a few sprinkles here and there, but rainfall not going to be significant. Once again, it's not going to amount to a large total, still just going to be a few drops here and there. And by Friday at 6 o'clock, we know that we do have the Tupelo Christmas Parade, and we've not seen a drop all day long. Expect that to continue to be in place for those Friday evening plans. We will be live at the Tupelo Christmas Parade, talking the latest on that forecast and getting to talk to a few of you guys. Again, Matt is out of town, but I'll be out there with you guys. So come find me. We can snap a few selfies, and we'll be sure to get those on air at the 5 and 6 o'clock hour there on Friday. All right, keeping with that forecast, high temperatures. I told you that the gloom would limit how much we warm up. 49 in Amory, 48 Bruce, 45 Senatobia, and 44 around Cleveland. A cold one for sure, but back where there's a little bit more moisture, we're talking low 50s with Columbus and Aliceville, as well as Vernon coming in with about 50 degrees. I told you we have several games of the week this week, so you're going to see this graphic a couple times as we wrap up this work week. 45 for the Kosciuszko game happening Friday at 4 p.m. We're going to hear from these matchups from our Will Kohlmeyer at 10 o'clock tonight, so tune in for the very latest on that. He's a little bit more of an expert on this than I am. I can just tell you when these games are being played and who's playing, and that's Kosciuszko, 4 p.m. Warren Central, the North Half representative, although not in our viewing area, we're still going to rep our North Half with some pride, and that's going to be 41 degrees still with those cloudy conditions and celebration as the Whippets hopefully bring home that 4A state championship. That's going to be a dry one once again as that cloud cover remains in place. Let's keep Futurecast going, and as you can see on your Friday night, staying with those dry conditions, maybe a sprinkle here and there down there around Pickens County, but we don't really foresee any impactful moisture. Then we move into our Saturday forecast, and yes, you are seeing that correctly. Some clear skies moving into the forecast north of Highway 6 continues to remain in place for the start of our Saturday, and those gradually move south throughout the day, making for some sunny skies. Now, I know you did see a few greens pop up in that Futurecast. Not forecasting much of any rainfall. If anything, it'll be a couple sprinkles, and then those work their way on out. Again, a mostly dry forecast for Saturday, and that continues to remain in place as that cloud cover clears, and we're going to be left with clear, sunny skies for our Saturday. Yes, that sunshine returning, an exciting time. I know I'm excited. It definitely boosts your mood as you head out there. And we have a few parades happening Saturday as well, so that boosts your mood even more. 4 p.m. there in Corinth. We'll be in Corinth for their Christmas parade. So again, come find me. I'll be out there doing a live shot there, talking to you guys about the latest on the forecast, but also snapping a few selfies once again. All right, Saturday evening, staying on the dry side. I know we are trying to, or well, I say we, Futurecast is trying to move in a few of these showers. Not really sold on those chances. Again, a sprinkler or two max as those that little batch of moisture works its way into the area. But I have us staying mostly dry, not just for Saturday, but throughout our entire weekend. And we'll get to that here at the 6 o'clock hour. High temperatures, 52 Tupelo, 53 Columbus, 54 Grenada, and 52 towards Clarksdale and Tunica. Amazing what sunshine does, already boosting those temperatures a few degrees from what we'll see on Friday. So, of course, Saturday's forecast is going to be looking a bit better. I know you do see a few chances here and there throughout the day as Knoxville County kicks off at noon. East Webster, I believe that is 3:30, and then Tupelo, the big 7A matchup, going to be at 7 p.m. And throughout the day, I would say that we are mostly dry. 20% would be the highest chance of rainfall throughout our Saturday, but even then, it's a few sprinkles. It's not going to be anything too heavy to be playing in, so it's not going to be like what Calhoun City is dealing with right now. I think it's going to be bearable moisture for our Saturday forecast. And that's not the only football game we have coming up this weekend. We also have that SEC championship matchup as Alabama takes on Georgia in Atlanta. I know that's a spot for the SEC championship, but I'm going to rant real quick. Why is Atlanta the home spot when Georgia's like an hour down the road? That's a home game for the Georgia Bulldogs. So an unfair advantage already. So the Crimson Tide already facing an uphill battle. But add to that, they got to drive in the rain. Driving in all of this rainfall we're experiencing right now, they'll be traveling in it for Friday and Saturday. 40% chance first play, 30% by halftime, and then clear by that final snap. I do want to note, it is a closed stadium, so no rainfall will impact the game itself. It's just going to be those travel conditions, so might need to bump those windshield wipers up a couple of settings. So Friday, I have mostly dry. 10% chances there for Friday. Same thing for Saturday, and then 20% there by Sunday as we increase a little bit more of that moisture. I do want to note, though, temperatures do gradually get better, especially with that sunshine returning to the forecast. Low 50s Friday, mid 50s Sunday, and then once all of that moisture that we're experiencing, that gloominess that we have, clears out, we'll be making way to a sunnier forecast for the start of next week, as well as a cooler forecast. Temperatures dropping back into the upper 40s, low temperatures getting back into the mid to upper 20s. So are you ready for it? It's going to be a cold one for sure. Definitely have those layers ready. We want you guys to stay safe, stay warm, and through the next couple of days, stay dry. We'll keep you updated on that forecast coming up at 6 o'clock. Oh, before I let you guys go, I see Pam put in the chat, got a parade in Manti tonight at 7. Have a rain jacket. I will say that for sure. It's going to be a rainy one, so we want to make sure that you have definitely have ways to stay dry. All right, trying to look through chat real quick so I don't miss anything. Hello, everybody that is saying hey. Love seeing the chat active and love seeing everyone saying hey. I'm sorry I can't type through the show, but I love looking at the end to kind of see what's been said and maybe answer a few questions. So appreciate all the hellos. Hello. But also, if you guys do have any questions with the forecast, put that in the chat and we can, of course, go through that here on Mississippi Live Weather. We are an interactive platform, so we get to talk to you guys and answer the questions you need to know, especially about the weather. But if you want to ask about football, I'll try and answer those as well. But like I mentioned earlier on, Will Kohlmeyer will be back at 10 o'clock tonight, walking us through Friday's matchups. And hopefully, actually, not hopefully, we will have the winners coming up at 10 o'clock as well from today's 1A and 5A state championships. Hopefully, we'll bring 2 back here to the north half. But Calhoun City already in a heated battle with Simmons. So we'll see what happens with that one. Excited to see the ending. And we'll keep you guys updated here on Mississippi Live Weather with a little bit of some Mississippi Live sports. All right, go ahead and download that app if you have not done so already. Free and available on iOS and Android. And that is best done by scanning the QR code on the bottom left and right of your screen. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, what more reason do you need? Nothing comes free nowadays. That is available, and of course our website, msliveweather.com, gives you the latest on those forecasts and what to expect for your weekend ahead. Live shows happening at 6 o'clock, so we'll see you back here in a little over a half hour. And then at 10 p.m., will be back. We'll also have looks from around the area with our Merry and Bright Christmas Lights promo. Can't wait to showcase some of your lights around the area and give some respect where it's due, because those lights, yeah, it's tough to get them up. So you guys are doing a great job with it, and thank you for everyone for participating in that with us. We'll see you back here in about a half hour. Until then, have a terrific Thursday.
Alright, y estamos activos. Head out early. Drinks flowing to level.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.